Yeah. So, okay, so event is recording and you guys can even watch it later. That's not an issue. Okay. So first of all, thank you for joining us today. So we have Sunny Kabrawal. So you might have seen his TED talk and like he's really active on social media and so he's working in a field that is like really unorthodox. Not a lot of people think about starting in company that aims to reach to the sky or like who is working in the field of space engineering and all these things because when we think about a company who's trying to reach to the space uh, a company like SpaceX or Ankitrix or some other companies come who are getting millions and millions in funding and they're spending and they're spending a lot of money on their research and still sometimes fail. So that's what comes to our mind and all of us thinks that the space is for millionaires, billionaires, and it is not for a normal middle class people like us. So we're gonna break all these myths today with Sunny sir. So okay, so sir, if it's possible, please introduce yourself and let's start this event.
Uh, First of all, thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm overwhelmed, and thank you so much for the wonderful introduction. And as you mentioned very correctly, that I'm super active on social media platforms. I like to share my experience with with my network, and I always try that the things that I'm learning, I share it with students, and social media is one of the best platforms to do that. So first for first 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, I'll talk about my journey with Star, how I came up with the idea and how I discovered my passion for the same. And then later on, what we can do is we can take question answers. So to everyone who are present, you can put your questions in the comment section and I'll be taking the questions. And we'll keep it more interactive. Okay, so will it be fine? Is this format convenient to you?
It is fine with us. Ask, I mean, that's the one thing you guys can ask as many as question as possible because we don't get like a lot of people like you around us. But when we get these kind of opportunities, it is like use it as much as you can. Maybe even after this webinar, if some of you wants to like work with the Sunny sir or maybe start your own venture in this field, it will be really amazing and that's what we want out of these webinars. So please ask as many questions as possible.
Yeah, sure. And just a quick note that it's not necessary that you need to ask only things related to space. You can ask me anything based on space, startups and entrepreneurship. I have got some experience. I would like to share that. If I don't have the answer, then I would like take your question later on and then I'll answer you over email or over social media. Fine. So I'll start with my journey now. And that was like when I was 10 years old, I found my passion for the very first time. So I was watching a news channel, and at that time, my mom used to teach me things. So I never went to the tuition or the coaching at such an early age. So I was sitting in the living hall and watching news channel, and they were showing that Sunita Williams was going to return back on Earth after completion of her mission. So I asked my mom that who is she, and she told me that she is Sunita Williams. And I asked her that and she told me that she's an Indo-American astronaut. Then I asked that what does astronaut do, and then she said that astronaut is a person who go to space to do some research work. Then I asked why do they go to space, and at that time she said that they go to space to do some research work. Okay, and you'll get the answer when you'll grow up. The very next day, uh, there was a picture of a space shuttle in a newspaper. It was a Sunday, and there was a picture of a space shuttle which was there in a newspaper. And I am sure that most of you guys have seen a space shuttle once in a lifetime, at least in a picture, right? So it's a rocket that looks like an aircraft, by the way. So I got fascinated by the design and I decided to make one out of a waste plastic bottle. It was my first non-working rocket model I ever made in my life at the very young age. And on the next day, I decided to to go to my school and to show it to my teacher. Now, my teacher asked me that how many of you saw news channel on Saturday. Now I could not recall at that point, but then she asked, how many of you know Sunita Williams? I raised my hand and I answered. I was an introvert. It was very tough thing for me to raise hand and to answer, but then I did it at that moment. I said that she's an Indo-American astronaut. Then she asked that, like, who are like what does astronaut do? Then I said that these are the people who go to space to do some research. And then she asked me that why do they go to space? Now I cannot tell her that you'll get the answer jab aap bade ho jaoge tab, right? So thing was, I took out that rocket model with an intention to show it to my teacher, and at that point, I expected that she might get happy, but she got angry just because I made an American flag on it, as it was an American design. So my teacher told me that you have to make another rocket with an Indian flag, and on that day I thought of making a rocket that can go to space with an Indian flag on it. And at that point I used to believe in nationalism and all, but now I believe that every country works together, so there's nothing like the supporting one single country. But I was not so matured, so I didn't know that what are the challenges one faces in order to build rockets that can even fly, not just putting them into space, but that can even fly. But still I thought of making something that can go to space. Excuse me. So that is how I found my passion for the rockets in space for the very first time. But you don't realize when you actually find your passion at the very first glimpse, right? What you do, like you realize it slowly and gradually. So that is what happened. At that time, my brother used to watch a lot of Discovery shows, and he used to watch the shows which are based on universe, based on space science and astronomy. So that is how I found that I used to get interested in watching the similar shows, and I watched Through the Homo. I even watched the Cosmos and the other shows which were there, and I hope you might have also seen those Discovery shows. So things were like really fascinating for me, and at that time I was not just focusing on rockets, but I used to get fascinated by anything which was related to space. Then I got to know that aerospace engineering is something which one can do in order to be a part of this industry. And at that time I used to believe that aerospace is the only way to be a part of space industry, but that is not the fact today. So it became my dream to be an aerospace engineer, but then I started messing up with my studies. In 9th grade, I failed in mathematics. In 10th, I got 60% grades. I still don't remember what was the exact count. In 11th, I got failed in physics. In 12th, I got 42% grades. That was not enough for me to get into any elite institution or even into a university with the aerospace discipline. But one thing was very clear with me, that I always wanted to work with in this industry. I always wanted to serve ISRO and build products which are based on space. I never found that I just wanted to work on rocket. I was like interested into satellites, into rovers, and anything that was related to space at that moment. Good thing was, since my childhood, I used to read a lot of things from encyclopedia about space, from different sources, and I used to attend space camps as well, and that benefited me because in getting network. I still remember the first camp I attended was in Bangalore. I went there with my mom and my parents basically, and then I met a lot of scientists which were there from ISRO and NASA. So that is how I was completely involved into the tech side. I never thought of doing business or having my own company into this, but I was purely into tech side. I like the engineering of each and every, and the physics behind everything which was there in space. So things were going like if you talk about my academics, things were not so good, but in first 3 semesters I scored good. I got my first backlogs in 4th semester, right? And in engineering, once you get a backlog, it becomes a legacy for you. So that is what happened with me. And I was fortunate enough that I got selected for one of the internship programs in the Technical University in Sofia, which is in Bulgaria. And I went there. And for the very first time, I saw a very sophisticated laboratory equipped with the advanced machineries. And that became my goal, that in my college campus, there should be a laboratory with such machinery so that, students can innovate and build products. So I went there, I got an experience in 45 days, and I returned back. And on 5th November, so till then I used to, along with my classmates, we used to build a lot of model rockets. Model rockets are small scale rockets which anyone can make out of scrap and they can launch them. So we used to build them, but none of them was launched successfully. We had like 100% failure rate at that moment. But we are trying to understand how can we make things at a low cost and from the waste materials. Like building rockets from waste, this sounds creepy, but that was the intention because we didn't have deep pockets, and we still don't have, but we can build rockets now. So excuse me. So thing was that in 2015, on 5th November, I'll cut my story so that we can have a more Q&A, right? So on 5th November 2015, we started STAR as a rocket club in my college campus with an intention to build rockets, model rockets. We have no plans of doing business out of it. But then at that time, we didn't have working space. So me and my friends, we used to sit in garden and we used to talk about astronomy, astrophysics, and students and the kids who were playing in the parks, they used to come to us and they used to sit with us and they used to also discuss. One thing we realized was that we were really good in explaining concepts to the students, to the young kids. They were able to understand rocket science and the astronomical concepts and the space theories that we used to, teach to them. So that is where we realized that we have got a good teaching skill, and these things are not so difficult to be taught. So we all have, used or heard this terminology that it is like if something is easy, then you say that there is no rocket science in this. Tend to say that rocket science is difficult. So I always wanted to change that perspective, because when you think something is difficult, you don't even dare to try, and when you don't try, things remains difficult for a long period of time. So I wanted to change that. So we came up with a concept and a campaign that the rocket science is not the rocket science anymore, and that really worked. Now students, they started believing that this is something easy, and in fact when they learned it, they found it easy, and they also tried to explain the same thing to the others, and it spread it like anything. So in 2015 we started like this. In 2016, in the month of January, we started working on a CANSAT. CANSAT are the small satellites. We worked on that particular project for 3 months, but we had to shut it down because we were not able to build a communication system for that. Then I was still in my college at that time. I was in third or in the final year of my graduation. I don't remember, to be honest. So at that time, my team decided, like we and my classmates, we decided to go to different schools and colleges to talk to the students and to expand the team, and so that we can get more and more people on board and we can build products. But one thing happened that, whenever we used to go to schools and colleges, they always used to ask us one question: do you have a background in this, or have you ever worked with ISRO before? And whenever we used to say no, we have not worked with ISRO, they never used to allow us to talk to their students as well. So there was another perception in our country that only the ISRO people can build these things. So, by the way, am I audible? You can give me confirmation in the comment section, because I'm speaking. I'm not sure am I audible or not. It will be funny if someone say no. Am I audible? Okay, thank you, Amalya. So there was a perspective, but people used to believe this, and they strongly used to believe this, and this was a very sad thing. Like, we were really passionate to build something, and we just wanted to talk to students, and we didn't want to promote us at that time. We just wanted to promote the work ISRO was doing through our medium. Then in the month of December, something happened. Now this is a very interesting story. Okay, and then we can go for the Q&A. Like, we have got a couple of stories only now left. So excuse me. What happened was that my college, actually, my professor named Virendra Patel, he worked. He really worked very hard on space-based technologies, and he was my professor. And my college got a receiver of India's navigation system, whose name is Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System. So it's IRNSS, and that's India's own navigation system. So my professor, he got the receiver from ISRO, and he was really working very hard. And I used to sit with him in the laboratory, just observing him working, and he used to explain me a lot of concepts. And whatever I am right now is just because of him. So he introduced me to these different space theories and space technologies, and I got to learn a lot about IRNSS, and 5 girls from different colleges, they were doing their final year project on that particular topic. So one day my professor, he told me that, you have to go to Dehradun, to the center of one of the centers of ISRO is there in Dehradun. Its name is Indian Institute for Remote Sensing. I don't remember the name. I guess that's the name. Yeah. So he said that you have to present a paper and a poster there, and you can visit there and along with those girls, and you can present your work there. I got excited, and I didn't work much on that thing, to be honest. My professor and those girls worked, but I didn't work. But I was just there for a supporting role. So we were traveling to Dehradun, and one of the girls who was supposed to present the work there, she asked me that, Sunny, where are the slides? Where is the presentation? I said, we are engineering students. Our presentation is tomorrow. And being engineering students, we do not prepare our presentations the day before. We make them on the same day. She said that, Sunny, I'm really nervous. I don't know what I'm going to speak there. I said, don't worry. Okay, don't worry much. And I was a student. I was an immature person. I was a funny guy at that time. Okay, so I was just doing fun. Next day in morning, she called me up. We reached to the place, and she called me up at 8 a.m. that, Sunny, where are the slides? We have got presentation in the afternoon. I said that we have got presentation in afternoon. I'll submit it by by lunchtime. She said, but I'm really nervous. I don't know what is going to happen. I told her only one thing. The center of ISRO in which we are standing right now is responsible to build remote sensing technology, and our research is on navigation. So scientists here have got no idea about what navigation technology. That is not fact, whether they have knowledge about everything. But just to give her the confidence, I told her, and she got confident. She said, that's correct, right? So during the lunchtime, I submitted the slides, and then we entered at 2 p.m. We entered the seminar hall, and everything was going on. And at that time, STAR was just a rocket club. Okay, it was just a rocket club, nothing else. So we entered the seminar hall, and the first presentation was already going on. And in the end of the presentation was the name of the presentation, of the presentator. The person was presenting it. And the presentator was the person who built that navigation system for ISRO. He was that scientist who worked on that particular system. And remember what I told to that girl, that the scientists here have got no idea about navigation, but the person himself was there. And now that girl turned and looked at me. I told her only one thing. Best of luck. Okay. So everything went well. The presentation was really good. On the next day, it was a conclusion session where they were talking about the whole event. It was a symposium. In the end, they said that now we'll have the award ceremony. So I thought that they will be honoring all the scientists over there, the students over there. But they said that now we'll have the first category, which is of best paper presentation. And we were 5 and 6 people who were sitting in the last row, gossiping about things, making fun of things. And suddenly we heard one announcement, that was the best paper presentation award goes to people from Surat. And I got shocked. I was shocked just because in exam, if I get RHS equals to LHS in mathematics, I still doubt myself, and this was ISRO. Like one of the elite you can, achievement you can have. Now these girls were really like, they were shivering, I was shivering, and then they went to the stage, they got the certificate. At that moment, I realized one thing. Space is not limited to the elite institutions like IIT, NIT, ISRO, NASA, or any of these companies. Space is open for everyone. Even if you belong to a local college, even if you are a dropout, but if you have a daring of pursuing your passion, then you will be able to achieve that. No doubt you'll need support of these institutes at some point, but then it's fine. You have to take that initiative, right? It's not that IITs and NITs are the only way. They are one of the ways. Okay, they are not the only ways to achieve your dream. So IIT and NIT should not be your dream. It can only be one of your ways to achieve your dream. Okay, that is what I understood. We returned back. We got incubated by my college in the year 2017. We started. Now I'll skip everything. We started working on model rockets. We started working, preparing our own rocket motors. We used to fly like. They never used to fly at that time, but then we had a couple of successful flights, like solo motor flights, not into rockets. They were not capable of lifting a very heavy vehicle, Then we started working on the rovers. We worked on a Mars rover. Then we worked on a couple of Kensets. We successfully launched them. We worked on a satellite named GeoMag. It got selected to be launched from Mexico, up to height of 40 kilometers, but we were not able to provide them satellite on time. Then in 2018, and we were getting a good limelight. We were invited by TEDx, by George Talks, by Yugantar, where we were supposed to share platform with Indian president, right? So that is how things went really good. In 2018, we got incorporated as a private limited company. In 2019, a very big twist it came in our life. We went through a very struggling phase of start. It was a very challenging situation. We got out of the campus. We rented out 2 places. Now we have got 2 laboratories in Surat. It's a very small working space. It's not like a big space companies that they have right now. But one thing to be clear, we started with a 0 rupee investment. We didn't even put a single rupee of ours into the company. It was a 0 rupee investment based company which is growing right now, and teaching students out there. We have never done paid promotion in our life. We did it only once when we got a good credit from Instagram, and that event never happened, by the way. It was event was supposed to happen in pandemic, but that we never spent a single rupee for marketing or for anything. It's purely supported by students, and if on this 5th November, after 4 or 5 days, we are going to complete 5 years of operation. That is half the decade of as a startup, as a company, right? Without any paid promotions, without any marketing, paid marketing, to be honest. That means that this is completely run by the customers. Okay. And all the co-founders have got no experience of doing job somewhere. Most of them got graduated this year. Me and only my the head of PR department, we got graduated a couple of years back, unfortunately. But all got graduated this year. And recently we got Mr. Jim Cantrell, who was the co-founder of SpaceX and even Vector Launch and one more company, Moon Express. He's there as a board of advisor in our company right now. So, it's like we never thought of this, and now we are ready to scale it up. And few of my team members are here right now in this session as well, and they know that I'm a person of ideas. I'm the person, and my team is a team of execution. My work is to just brainstorm, and I always get crazy ideas in my mind. I share it with my team. I guess Amulya is here and she knows that very well. I get excited about ideas. I share it with my team, and then we decide how to execute them. And a lot of ideas, we feel after 3 to 4 days, these are not good and this cannot be scaled up. So when you are running a company, it's not just about building products. You have to think that, will you get users for this? Will this create a value to the user in the user's life? It's not just about generating revenue every time. You have to make sure that it can reach out to millions of users. It's not that you are just targeting a set of users there, 100 people, 1,000 people. It should be used by millions of people. So you think of all those criteria first. When you get idea, don't think of all these things. Just discuss it with your team and figure out how to make possible. Few of things that we follow at Star was never think whether it is possible or not possible. Always think that how can we make it possible, and keeping the vision constant and changing out different ways to achieve that vision. I guess this is how we are growing right now. I'm not a man of figures as well. I don't discuss much about the valuation and all things, but this is all about the company that we have. Just the last point. Recently, we started another venture named Star Orbitals, which is into building launch vehicles, which will be taking 150 kg of small satellites to the low Earth orbit. And we're not just focusing on Earth's orbit, we're focusing on the lunar orbit and even Venus missions as well. So that's it. And we strongly believe that space is for everyone. Now, we are open for the questions. I hope you guys enjoyed. I know you guys got bored with the story, but I had limited time. I'm really sorry.
I mean, I don't think anyone was bored even for a second. I think it's a real life October Sky story. It's a story about grit. It's a story about being persistent. It's a story about keep dreaming, and everything else will follow. So really amazing story. So before we take questions from the audience, I also have a couple of my own questions. So in the meantime, audience can send us the question in the chat. And once I'm done with my question, we can follow up on those also. So sir, when we see a space company, the one thing that comes in our mind are crazy evaluations, crazy fundings from billionaires. So like, and even then they are not even profitable and they're losing money, they're bleeding money to be precise. And like, even they do not have idea how they're going to make it profitable at one point. So like, how you guys able to sustain for 5 years, and like what is your plan to commercialize this thing? Because if it's ISRO or NASA, they are heavily funded by the government and have any space agency. And so funding is something that like scares all the space startups, and a lot of startups get bankrupt in like even in 1 or 2 years in on starting their operation. So what is your plan for commercialization?
So if we talk about the rocket companies and the satellite companies which are there, they have got a different picture. I'll first talk about the space education based company. Now, one challenge with us was that we never just wanted to teach students without having experience. We wanted to build things, to fly them, and then to teach to students. So I guess we have launched more than 66 high-powered rockets so far, and to launch them, we have already performed so many test flights as well. So things were like, and for that you need money, right? So I always believe in an idea which can be run by the customers and not investors. You can get investors for scaling up, but if you have an idea and if there is a problem which is existing in market, for example, if one person have a need and if you are providing the solution, they will give you a value in return, right? And when you see that a lot of people, that means that a demand is great, and if you provide them, they will give you some value, which value you can use to build your company. Even if you talk about Star Orbitals, which is a rocket based company right now, we're focusing on creating a product and then going to the investors. So in space education we use this approach. We should at least have 10,000 users and then we will go for the investment. So to get the 10,000 users, we struggled a lot. In few sessions we got hundreds of students, in few sessions we got just 2 or 3 students, but the energy level of teaching was same in both the sessions. So that gives a personal touch. Second, we build a good relation with students, and students helps us to reach out to other students as well. So we don't we have a campus ambassador program, but we never push them that you have to share this in your network. We don't monitor whether they have shared or not. We give them freedom. If they want to share, if they will share our programs. If they don't, that's completely fine. We cannot push someone. So that is how our company have grown, by just creating values in the life of anyone. I suggest everyone, if you have got an idea, build a prototype, take it to the users, give some value, in return take some value. Now that value can be not just in the terms of money, but it can be in the terms of feedback. And once you get the feedback, work on your product. Okay, for an entrepreneur, and especially when you're starting a company, for first 3 years you have to just see how many feedbacks you are able to collect, not how many turnover, like what does the turnover in the sense of money. Your turnover should be also in the terms of feedback. So we are successful in getting feedbacks from people, and that is what helped us in creating a good product. And I posted it yesterday that we were talking to an investor, and he said that you have got a good product and a team. I'm interested in investing in you. And after listening to that, I felt that 5 years of hard work, 5 years of rejections, and finally we are at the point where someone found a value in us, right? So it's just about keep trying things. बोलते हैं ना कि अगर लाइट चालू करना है, स्विच दबाते रहो. अंदर अगर कमरे में अंधेरा है तो स्विच दबाते रहो, गलती से एक स्विच दब जाएगा से लाइट आ जाएगी. So that is what one have to follow. But always follow this principle. Don't burn your cash, or don't just rely on investors. You have got your product in your hand, you have got your team in your hand, and your team is with you. Build beautiful stuff, give it to users, and let them add value in your company. That is how it works.
Okay. One more question is that, like, so when you got your backlogs, or when you get failed in your academics, so like how you were able to stay motivated? Because it's tough for even just focus on academic, and you're also building a company in parallel. So like what was going in your mind, and what
you
was
get
that
depressed when you expect good. I didn't expect a good result, so I was not at all depressed or stressed out with my results. I I was prepared mentally that I'm going to fail in the examinations because I was not the person who used to read books and learn things. I used to mug up a lot of things, about the subjects which I never liked. But conceptually, I was always clear about the theories which are there in books. I always do the details of the theories. Like if there are 10 theories, I don't know all the 10 theories, but if I know only two, I know them very well. So one good thing was that I used to get into detail of each concept. I never used to study, and that's a real fact. My friends would agree with that. And I still don't read books. I have never read a book on entrepreneurship as well. I've never read any book. So good thing is don't expect much from your grades because that is not in your hand. It's completely that you study, you can remember things, and our education is based on how well you can remember things. It's not based on how well you can understand and come up with your own innovation. So when you have got a wrong system, if you even win that race, you are in the wrong race. So there's no point of winning that race as well. So I guess that's the reason I never got depressed about my results.
Okay, guys, like we can take your questions right now. So please send us question in the chat box and we can discuss them.
So if you guys will ask question, I'll feel good.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess we have got a question.
There is one question.
So I'll take up the question. So Devlina is asking that, according to you, what is something which is different for a space entrepreneur as compared to the entrepreneurs in other fields? So it's similar. To be honest, it's similar. Like everyone have their different will say that it's different. Space entrepreneurship is a bit difficult than the others. But to be honest, it's not so difficult. It's similar to the overall entrepreneurship. Basically, what we are doing, we are solving a problem. We are building products. We are serving. We are generating revenue. We are scaling it up. We are creating an impact. Things like if you go to the grassroots level, everything is same. The only thing is here you don't have set footprints, which are like there in other industries. If you go to the e-commerce, already a lot of people have worked there, so you have footprints which you can follow, and then you can do some innovation, and then you can get well known in the industry. You have got the proven business models out there. In space education, it's difficult at that point. You don't have the footprints of any startups who have worked before on this, or have like I always say that you have got a king in e-commerce, that is Amazon. You have got king in social media, which is Facebook. You have got a king in all the industries, but what about space education? You don't have one particular company which is there globally, right? You have got communities, but they are not scaling it up, and they are not creating that impact that a startup can create. So you have got no footprints, and I guess that is a beautiful thing. You can, at that, when you have got no set lanes, you can come up with your own ideas and your own concepts, and you have got the freedom. When you have got a proven business model, investors also think that you should follow those business model, and you'll be able to have those valuations. But when you have got no set lanes, you can try out your own things, and that is what again attracts the investors who are innovation driven and not only profit driven. So that is one of the beautiful thing about space entrepreneurship. I hope I answered your question, Devalina. So you mute. Love.
Guys, you guys can also ask questions. Please ask as many questions as possible. Yeah. So sir, one more thing is that you just mentioned that it is not a well-established industry, and like there is no footprint that anyone can follow compared to e-commerce or other areas. And also when it comes to like e-commerce or other industries, I mean, it's easier to like sell your product to the audience, to the customers. So what you guys have done that able to like how you sell your product to the audience? Because I mean, it is for most of the people who are not aware of the field, they might think that this is not necessary. Like to invest in this thing? Like, how do you reach to your customer?
So, a lot of investors, they always say, and a lot of entrepreneurs, they always say this in their speech or anywhere they, address people. They say that first find the customers and then build your product. Don't build the product and then go. In our case, a set of customers were already there. They didn't get the time. They lost their hope, and now they are no more the customers or the people with hope that they will be able to get this thing. So how to solve it? Like, every kid in their childhood ever aspire to be an astronaut or a space pioneer, but as they grow, they compromise with it, and with because they have got no hope. They can see that ISRO is far away from them just because they have got no good grades. There's a lot of competition in this industry, so they think of joining other industries. In that case, how to come up? So first thing is to educate your audience. Always talk to audience and give them the hope that in this industry you still have got the hope. Now this is booming, and show them the picture which is there in the forward direction, not in the backward. That don't show them that there were no jobs in the 2018 in this industry. Show them that after 5 years, I guess more than 12, 15 startups, rocket companies will be there in India demanding the job of more than 2,000, 3,000 people. In that case, people will get hope. Now I need to learn about space so that after 5 years I get employed in a rocket company, right? Show them the forward picture. Educate them. What are the various opportunities for them? Break the myths which are there in the market. Like, only the rich people can do, only the people from elite institution can do, only people from engineering background can do, only people from aerospace can do, right? I'm connected to a lot of people from the American space community, and out of that 70 to 80% people are from arts background. One person recently interviewed Elon Musk. He's a DJ. So thing is, in our country, people have got these myths in their mind. So we have to break those things first, and that is how we do. Afterwards, once they get hope, and once they again start building their dream in the same industry, we present our services. So that is how we are able to get our customers, and without paid promotion, it's sometimes it is difficult. But then you have to deal with ups and downs in your venture every time. So I guess we have got other questions I'll take from the comment section. Shobit is asking that recently ISRO invited private companies. It should have investors more interested in you guys. What kind of startup will ISRO be more interested in? ISRO is already supporting, used to support a lot of satellite-based companies, but now they are mainly into rockets. So now they have clearly mentioned that they'll be supporting the private rocket companies who want to build rockets and fly them to space, especially small satellite launch vehicles. So now, like previously, the rocket companies were not able to build a clear roadmap, because a rocket company have not only to make rockets, but even test facilities, launch pads, ground station, a lot of things. More infrastructure needs a lot of fundings, right? And the chances of failure is also high. Now, when ISRO have said that they will be providing the test facilities, the launch pads, even the ground station, if they can provide, rocket companies can purely focus on their rockets now. So that is how they are mainly focusing. So, ISRO will be providing the support in that. I have no idea about ISRO supporting into space education or the companies which are into space education right now. This is very underrated industry, to be honest. We come across a lot of people who say that space education is never going to grow, or this is a very niche market. But the way we talk to students, we get to know that a lot of people are interested, and this is not a niche market. So this was the answer. And now, Amulya, I have a question. What mindset would you like to change in the entrepreneurial world? One mindset for sure, that every budding entrepreneur, they believe that the funding and the investment is the primary thing to grow, or to start, not to grow, but even start, which is a very wrong thing. It's just one of the parameters which is required to boost or to accelerate your work, but not to give the velocity to work. Okay, that adds up the extra velocity. But to get the starting velocity, initial velocity, it's up to you and your team members. So when you come up with ideas, get into the execution, plan out things in the way, and at some point you feel that this idea is not going to work, drop it down, go to the another idea. But keep switching on things based on your experience. Sometimes it happens that the idea that you dropped out 3 years back is now valid. can work right now, like the online education, right? People used to believe that only coaching centers can earn, the online education will never work. But now the situation is different, the environment is different. So one have to adapt things based on the environment as well. So I guess this is a mindset that everyone have. Fundings, drop that mindset, things will be in your way. Really sorry, I have got throat right now, issue right now. So Nimish is asking a question. Space exploration have always been an ever interesting hot topic and with the entrance of private companies in recent years, I feel the attention towards the space education isn't given the priority I think it should. What is your take on it? I know like we are highly underrated right now, and underrated by the industry people, but not by the students. And when you're not underrated by your customer, that then you don't need to worry much, right? So we have got a set of customers. Like for example, if Star gets shut down tomorrow, and if Nilab day after tomorrow he comes to me, Sunny, I want to learn rockets. I won't say my company shut down. I won't teach you now. I'm not doing to run just to run my company. I know how to build rockets. I'll teach him, right? So here we are solving the problem and we are serving a purpose. It's not that we often forget that we are the manager in our company. We just keep on doing a lot of funny things, and we are very chilled people, to be honest. So company is something we don't have in our mind. We have got a very strong purpose of serving. So even if 1,000 people are not there with us, only two people are there here right now, they want to learn, the energy level from our side will always be there. And it's all about just they have got issue, like it's like a field of doctors. They won't see that here there are 100 patients and here only one patient. I'll go through those 100. For us, all 101 patients need care, and that is what we believe here. Then we have got a question from Shivani. We see functional model of lead company and try to make prototype with little deferred purpose. Is this situation how we will address proprietary issues? Uh, Generally in business, I have never seen that business plan can be patented or you can own an IPR on a business model or a business plan. Business plans are easily copyable a lot of time, but it's not about idea, it's about execution. I even posted this on social media that a lot of entrepreneurs are worried about their ideas getting copied or anything. I feel it rubbish, to be honest. I'm really sorry for using this slang, rubbish, but still. Thing is, uh, no idea is $1 million idea. It's only the $1 million execution. Okay, I'll tell you that Rocket Masterclass is what I'm doing. You can also start it. I can give you the topics as well. But the way we deliver and the way you deliver will be different. And if you are delivering better than us, you deserve to own the market. Right? It's not like a king rule that I was the first. Okay, there is nothing like this in the world of startups. The person who will be serving better will be there in the market. And I always say that there is no winner or loser in the world of startups or business. There is only survivor. Okay, so if you are serving good, if you are able to survive and you're sustainable, you deserve to be there in market. So don't think much about your business plan getting that. Like we got Flipkart from Amazon, but they just introduced the cash on delivery from that. Jeff Bezos never worried about Flipkart. He just focused on what new he can do and how can he serve more and more people. So that is how you go. Just focus on your customers, just focus on your plan and your roadmaps. That is how it works. And collaborate with the other companies who are there doing similar work as you. That is how it works. So Purvi is asking, what is the idea you have of the future of India in terms of space exploration? I have got two very major ideas. I'm working on both. It's not so often that people and entrepreneurs who have got two different ideas, they are not admired a lot. But I have got two things to solve. First thing is making space, education accessible to everyone, even to the people who are there in villages, to the people who want to go to space, but because they are differently able, but they are not able to get this experiences, I want to work for them. First thing. Second is to make space missions really like more cheaper and to build products which will help humans to sustain on other planets. So that is what I'm aiming for right now. Not sending humans to other planets, but making products which can help them humans to sustain their life on Moon, Mars, and beyond.
I mean, I think there are no, and I don't think there are any more questions. Just let me check once more. As you can ask if there is any question left.
By the way, I would like to give shout out to Amulya. She is the business developer at Star right now, and thank you, Amulya, for joining.
Yeah. So like we have seen a lot of times a company who are copied. Sometimes even they able to like sometimes they fail and the people who are copied it able to succeed. So like what do you think? What is most important part of executing a thing? Because if you see Chinese companies, they copy a lot of business models from USA or like rest of the world, but they're still able to implement it really well when it's compared to their counterparts who have come up with the idea in the first place. So what do you have to say about that?
What I believe is any model which will be stagnant at one point, there is a point to be worried of now, because when you are stagnant, when you have got no potential to grow further than this, you have got no more innovations. Any other company will come up with same product, same idea, and it will be attaining the same level as you, and then it will be difficult for you to retain your customers at that point. So any idea which has got a lot of loopholes and and I always again the similar thing I posted a day back, that if you have got if you have got no loopholes in your idea, that means you have attained a saturation point. There is no potential of growth now. But if there are loopholes, that means the potential of growth is still there. So if you find loopholes, that is a good thing, not a bad thing. Okay. So if you have got any idea, you can think on two ways. Like first is in the way that how can you make changes in your product or service, and second, how you can make changes in the way you're delivering it. Right. I don't remember the name of a company, but there was a company that sells saffron. You know saffron, right? It's very expensive product, and lot of people what they do is they make the duplicate of saffrons. Uh, mixing chemicals and all, and because of that, what happens? The actual product is not getting the value in the market. So one girl, what she did, and this saffron they actually are found on the mountain area, hilly regions. What she did, she used to like sell the genuine product, the saffron. She plucked one leaf of that plant from where you get the saffron, and along with the package, she used to give that leaf as well as a proof that we have got it from the plant. The saffron is not artificially made, right? So you can add up a value in your product every time, and there should not be any saturation point in any of your service. At Star also we do the same. In every internship we think of doing something new, adding up one or two new things. If they work, we continue with that particular thing. If they don't, we remove them on the next model. We add another things. So keep adding things and keep adding value to the life of the customers by experimenting out, and that is the only way. There is no standard way that you can lead to the competition, but just keep innovating and experimenting on things.
Yeah, that's really true. Even and we have a lot of webinars with ESL Triple IT Guwahati, and one thing we have learned is that entrepreneurship is like should be like an open book. You should share your ideas with your colleagues, and you should learn from their mistakes, and you should also teach them. It is but in India we have this culture like we hide our answer sheets when we are writing examination, and the entrepreneurship is not hiding your answer sheet. It is about sharing your answer sheet, letting people find what are the mistakes you are doing and solving them and capitalizing upon it. So I think
Yeah.
that's the thing. And so your journey. Yeah.
Even patents, when you keep your patents limited to yourself or anything you own, you're stopping innovation at that point. So anything which is restricted can never grow. That is what we have learned in life. And even in the terms of technology and business, if you're restricting it to yourself, the potential of growth stops. Like if I have a business plan, if I get a trademark or anything like patented, what I think is for 2 years I am the king and second person cannot do. But what if he copies me and then I come up with something new, and that will help me to grow my business exponentially. In first case, it will be just going in the multiplication factor. In the second case, I can grow exponentially. So that is the point. Never restrict things, and even humans. When you give freedom and when you keep it open, the potential of growth lies there. So that's it. I'm really sorry to interrupting you.
No, it's fine, sir. It's fine. I mean, that's what I was trying to say. You articulated really well. So, I mean, I think we're towards the end of our session. If you guys have any more question, you could ask. And if not, then so maybe you can like say a last few words and maybe summarize your whole webinar, and then we can close the session. Yeah.
Sure. So first thing, I have got two things. I'll take just 3 to 4 minutes of yours if you
Sure.
allow.
Sure,
Okay?
sir. Sure, sir. Sure.
First thing is find your passion. Like I also talk to my interns every time that find the internship. Don't just focus on technical things, but find the purpose of your life, and that you will get by your passion. And this is the analogy. Like there's a lot of students, they enter a field just because they were interested, and then they drop out after 2 years. And there is a between the passion and interest. Like interest is like a crush, so that keeps on changing. Like for example, if you fight with your crush, you don't take much thing into concern. You think that okay, fine, theek hai, ho gaya, right? And you change your crush. But passion is like a wife. Once you fight with her, or if you have a fight with her, you sit with her, you discuss things, you understand the situation, and you give patience, and you take a break, and then you come out of that. Similar thing goes with your work. Whenever we are doing the work we are interested in, during the time of struggle, we'll leave it or we'll change our work. But when you're passionate about something, you'll take a break. Okay, you'll understand the situation, and then you'll give yourself a time, and then you'll come out of it, of that particular period. Second, and the last thing I would like to share is the 4 important tools which were shared by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. First is you find your goal in your life. That is the most important thing, and that is the passion is the best way to get it. Second is the hard work with devotion. There is no substitute of hard work. We have a concept of smart work, but to do smart work, you have to be smart, and to be smart, you have to work hard for years, and then you can come up with that smartness, or you can generate it. Third is perseverance. You'll fail many times, and I never suggest students to avoid making mistakes. Make enough mistakes. Whatever I am right now is just because of mistake. If I have to sum up my life right now, 90% were the failures and the mistakes, and only 10% of the things I've achieved in my life, that the things I wanted to achieve. So perseverance is the key, okay, and never give up. And the last thing, that is the $1 million question, that is, whenever we see Facebook, we remember Mark Zuckerberg. Whenever we see Apple, we remember Steve Jobs. And whenever we see Microsoft, we remember Bill Gates. Whenever we see missiles, we remember Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, sir. Every kid here should ask themselves one question, and that is what I call the $1 million question, that what you will be remembered for. Thank you so much, guys, for listening to me. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a weekend. You joined. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being part of this event, and thank you for the whole eCell teams, especially Shobit Bilwal, Akshat, Nikhil, and Ayush for making this event possible, and also the rest of the eCell team for making this event possible. And maybe in future we again able to see Sunny sir with another event, and I think all of you must loved it. And soon we will be sending you a feedback form. Please fill it. Please let us know how we can improve our future events. And that's all. Thank you, Sunny sir, and thank you for the whole STAR team who's also joined as attendees. Thank you, all of you. And
thank you. See you guys.
We will be uploading. Yeah, we will be uploading this event on YouTube. So share it. Let others know about Sunny sir stories, and let them also be inspired by this whole real life October sky story. So thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us.